Hello everyone, I am Irina. Welcome back to my channel on culture and languages, mainly dealing with the Northern European space. Today I have for you a topic that should have been on schedule yesterday, but unfortunately I was on the road, so I couldn't do much about it. However, I thought maybe it wouldn't be that late if I present it to you. Today it is about Sweden's National Day and why it is rather well, uninteresting for the Swedish people, which is exactly the reason why I find it so fascinating. But yeah, first of all, grattis på nationaldagen. So congratulations on the National Day, 6th of June, if there are any Swedes following me. All right, so as we know, a national day is one of the main components of national identity, and it is usually in reference to, some important event in the history of a particular historical landscape, such as a liberation or a unification or a reunification, something of the sort. Interestingly, in the case of Sweden, well, a long time it was the only country in the world which did not have an official national day. So this basically happened in 1983 when the Swedish parliament, known as the Riksdagen, made the decision to transform this date, the 6th of June, into the National Day of Sweden. So this is not to say that in the 19th century, which is the century of nation building in Europe, there weren't people who were enthusiastic about having such national symbolism. But usually these were private initiatives that continued after World War One as well, in this spirit, in this wave of growing nationalism all over the continent. And in Sweden as well, there came up this idea of celebrating, well, not necessarily a national day, but at least a day of the Swedish flag. And this day of the Swedish flag afterwards came to be celebrated in the famous open-air museum Skansen in Stockholm. This museum founded by Arthur Hazelius, with the purpose of preserving cultural heritage. And, in this sense, the Swedish national flag would also become part of this cultural heritage, but like I said before, as an official national day, the 6th of June first came up in 1983, and as de facto celebration, as a holiday and a day marked with red in the calendar. This actually happened later, as late as 2005. Okay, so let's see what this day, National Day on the 6th of June. Well, this has to do with two very important events in Swedish history. Founder of the modern Swedish state, which is Gustav Vasa. Gustav Vasa, who lived in the 16th century, is considered to be the liberator of Sweden from the Kalmar Unionen, which was the union, the personal union it had with Denmark until the 1523, and he is the father of the modern Swedish kingdom. Let's say a few words about Gustav Vasa, not to remain in the dark about his personality. So he was king of Sweden between 1523 until his death, 1560. And he worked continuously to strengthen the power of Sweden and to centralize the state. So he centralized the administration, among other things. He governed really decidedly, both to ward off external enemies and to make sure he had internal support. He is also the one who introduced Protestantism in Sweden, well, basically he did that to improve the financial state of the country. He also became the head of the church. So we can say that he was a pretty authoritarian leader. Yeah, he also modernized the military. He also raised taxes, which was, not so much appreciated by all layers of society. He also dealt with a lot of rebellions during his regency. However, he is to be given credit for turning Sweden into a relevant country on the political landscape of Europe. So some people rightfully consider them to be a tyrant, but on the other hand, we can also consider him as the essential personality who turned Sweden into a great power with an elevated status and very relevant in the political circles of Europe. So that's why he is considered to be the father of the Swedish nationhood. So this is one reason. The other reason has to do with the constitution, the Swedish constitution, Grundlag, which was signed in the year 1809, and it did benefit from some updates over the passage of time. However, it remained pretty much in the same form, it contains most of the essential rights, which are, absolutely relevant for today, such as citizen rights, the right to freedom of speech, for example, the right to choose your own religion, the right to print out whatever materials you desired, and so on. So it contains essential human citizen rights from the 19th century, and it was changed very little over the course of time. All right, so nationalism is kind of moderate if we compare it to the nationalism of, let's say, the neighboring country, Norway. Yeah, and this is actually not that hard to explain because, Sweden did not really have, so at least in the past 200 years, did not really have to deal with external threats, and external threats usually help create these boundaries between in-group and out-group. So that's one way of putting it. But on the other hand, Sweden is really keen on using flags. Not only on this occasion, however, also on the occasion of, celebrating Midsummer, for example, in June as well. So it's something that defines this kind of celebration. And the flag has a very interesting history as well. Its appearance and function varied across history, and after breaking up the union with Norway in 1905, it became quite the national symbol that we see nowadays. This is not to say, however, that it wasn't used before. It was used, and pretty extensively, in the 16th century, for example. We have several theories regarding the origin of this flag, it's not really that clear, but it might as well have been inspired by its Danish counterpart, the red white banner Dannebrogen, and it might have also been inspired in terms of its colors by the small coat of arms. Well, you know, this emblem with the three crowns on the blue against the blue backdrop, which was popular as a battlefield banner for Swedish troops, even earlier, so in the 15th century, for example, both troops on land and on sea. Well, it was most popular for kings and for the army, especially the fleet. And from 1620, for example, we do have picture evidence, so very clear-cut proof that that these flags with such crosses, yellow, blue, were used extensively. Yes, so is the national anthem. The national anthem, as expected, is also from the 19th century, and it is based on an old folklore song. I think it is from the region of Västmanland. So the first two stanzas were written down by Richard Dubeck in 1844, but it wasn't until a little later, 1890, once this wave of national romanticism got a little more speed, that so this upsurge of Swedishness, that the song really became popular among people who were reciting it more and more often. The anthem has two more stanzas, but these two stanzas came into being 1910 and by a different author. Again, very interestingly, this lyrical and musical piece, respectively, was never adopted officially. So it was not. There was no concrete political decision to transform this old folk song into the Swedish national anthem. So in this sense, we can say that its usage nowadays is based, well, exclusively on tradition. So we can actually say it was the choice of the people, and it is used nowadays to represent the nation in international events such as sports events, and also in official state visits. So let's see the first two stanzas and translate them, and with that we will draw the final conclusion. Du gamla, du fria, du fjällhöga nord, du tysta, du glädjerika sköna, jag hälsar dig, vänaste land uppå jord, din sol, din himmel, dina ängder gröna. Du tronar på minnen från fornstora dagar, då erat ditt namn flög över jorden. Jag vet att du är och du blir vad du var. Ja, jag vill leva, jag vill dö i Norden. So, du gamla, du fria, you old, you free, du fjällhöga nord, you north with high mountains, or you mountainous north. Du tysta, you the silent one, du glädjerika sköna, you joyful and beautiful, jag hälsar dig, I salute you, venaste land uppå jord, the most beautiful, fairest land upon the earth. Din sol, din himmel, dina ängder gröna. So your sun, your skies, your green meadows. Du tronar på minnen från fornstora dagar. You thrown upon memories of ancient days då ert ditt namn flög över jorden. When honored your name crossed the earth, traveled upon the earth. Jag vet att du och du blir vad du var. I know that you are and you remain as you are. Jag vill leva, I want to live. Jag vill dö i Norden. I want to die in the north. So the song was actually called initially a song from the north. Sång från Norden, and this is actually to be expected because it was a time when we have these two parallel cultural theories of Scandinavianism and Swedishness, and there were national romantic authors who tried to either show that these northern traits overlapped in all the northern nations, and on the other hand we had authors who tried to make a very clear-cut distinction between these nations and try to define Swedishness in more in edgier, more clear-cut terms. Well, yeah. It's something which has to do with nationalism in general, because nationalism, regardless of the North and or of any other countries we are talking about, or geographical regions, historical regions, it is always based on the creation of boundaries. Yeah, and these boundaries are most often artificially created. And speaking of artificial, I think Swedes nowadays do perceive this holiday as being a little more artificial than other, let's say, symbols of the nation, such as, again, Midsommar, which is a much bigger holiday, and identity, pillar of identity of Swedishness than the National Day. So that's why they don't really care a lot about it, or if they do, it's just your very moderate celebration where you wave flags and maybe eat smörgåstårta, so this the sandwich cake, and where children appear with bouquets of summer flowers and so on. So yeah, it doesn't share the same enthusiasm, let's say, other nations might share. Okay, that was from me for today. I hope you found out at least some interesting information from this short talk, and I kindly invite you to like and subscribe if you want to know more about such topics referring to Northern culture and languages I know about. Thank you so much for watching, and again, one more time for my Swedish friends, grattis på nationaldagen, so congratulations on your National Day. Maybe I'm going to make a video about Midsommar, because it would be more exciting, as a matter of fact. All right, take care and follow me.